We thought that we could speak about geek things after meal, but I think it's rather not geek topic, but something that we are facing and then understanding what are the instruments that we are using, what we will face and what is not described in the internet. We also are checking our micros. Is it working like this? Yeah, perhaps you can hear it right now. So, let me go on. These are the things that are not covered by the internet. I think this is operating in the reality. Is it? Yes. So now I will let the floor to our speaker. Now we would speak about the Dockers, but our participant perhaps is late, and therefore we need to switch to the GPU. But GPU is very interesting, and all the farms, everybody now have the farms that are rest from mining. But now we will speak not about GPU. My name is Aleksander, and I'm not here, not from Moscow. I live 500 kilometers from Moscow, and I work with 1C in small cities. And the situation looks like this. Many organizations have small budgets and they are not able to buy huge, mighty servers. And we need to search for some solutions, non-standard solutions. Everybody is acquainted with the state when 1C is one server that works, and we have a small basis that was established in beginning of 2000 something, and then we see the degradation of productivity. Although the bases are growing and the programs need more operational space. And what do we need to do? We need to buy some new stuff, new hardware. The standard solution is you buy one server, you install one key from 1C, and the server is operated. Then you buy the second server, second key for 1C. We make clusters from 1C servers. In organizations where I work, there are many old hardware items, and as an experiment, I tried to try something new, like Apache. How does Apache work? It is just a regular system block, 1, 2, or 3 of them. You can see a load balancer. You can install a load balancer, and from a certain head computer, main computer, it will send the information on the first, second, or third node. And I tried to make something similar for 1C. Perhaps someone heard about the term Beowulf. Apache is working on the same principle. Just for example, we have many clients with one switch, one server, 1C, and up to 4 or 5 servers, 1C. In Beowulf, it looks like this. We have clients that face one switch, one command server, and afterwards there is also one switch with nodes, node number 1, number 2, number 3, with distributed load. When I was speaking with the developers of 1C directly, I wanted to get to know about some interesting features and add-ons, and the majority of them were interested about MPI extension for 1C. I think programmers are here, many of you are programmers, and you should know about this. This is the parallel programming that is used in institutes for specific cases and tasks for GIS. This is a unifying of the capacities of one computer with the second, the third, in the frames of a local network. And namely for 1C, I tried to make this. What was necessary? We should rewrite script. I think you cannot see it very easy, but I think you need to show the text on the projector. Yes. As a rule, what do we see? We set up standard Beowulf clusters that include switch and many other system applications with authorization under SH and a small tiny nuance. You will need to fill in the script to start 1C. There is a standard file, rmngr, the service that works. And we take it, then we make a copy, and here directly for trading. I have a trading 1C and personal trading. We could rename it. Then we write parameters. Then we add parameters with which we will work. This means that we are creating one additional layer or sublayer. What does it mean? We add it to the command start. The main service of 1C gets some parameters for execution for the server, and we catch them up with the script and transfer them further. And then it works as a part of MPI. If we take a closer look at the processes, we have a process of startup for MPI that is not unparalleled, but a whole one, and this circulation distributes it for the first, second, or third node, or how many nodes do you have. You can also experiment in cycles. Unfortunately, deep parameters, I could not find deep parameters for licensing service. Just to install i5 or Xenon for a mighty service. Unfortunately, I could not make this. But for now, this works in one organization for 3 months, and there are no malfunctions. The productivity is not so high, and I could not check it. This is only the first idea, and there is only one question of licensing. Why is it not in the open source, with open access? Because I wanted to understand the position of 1C, because we are not working with the source code, we are changing only one startup file. It means just a small changed for the script. And the second part is the Postgres. Like everyone heard about mining, about earning more money while you are sitting at home. Somebody could manage this, somebody not. And there are many, there is hardware. It is not old, but it is extensive, like 3 video cards, Nvidia 1080. Where can you use it? And this is just an experiment that I use right now. I made a startup 2 weeks before the conference. Therefore, there are not many operating conditions for it, only test bases. What do we do here? I think everybody heard about the project, about Kudo Nvidia. This project allows us to start some applications directly on the graphic processor. What for? Because when I need some application that needs more power, I will use a processor, but video card has more power in it. And the same can be also made with database. There is an extension, PG100. The guys from Postgres support it. They also developed it, and I've decided to apply this for 1C. What do we need here? We need to do the following. We need to compile a website, PG Storm, and download the initial documents, then install Kudo from Nvidia and start it. There are also some malfunctions in it. Not all video cards work with it, but lower than 1050 for Kudo, I could not manage to let it run. And further, when we manage to compile it and install it, we need to see that in the list of the processes, just in addition to Postgres, you need to have a PG100. After it is compiled, you will need to add only dynamic libraries from Postgres config, and you need to see a utility from Nvidia smear, and the utility shows that the adapter is defined, that the program can see the adapter, and afterwards you can start Postgres and work with database and introduce 1C. This is a real stand that is tested several days ago. Before I went here, it is tested, but it is not used. And here you can see the load on the processor. On the stand, I have i3 processor, and the second core is has maximum load of 38%. And I have a list of processes that are executed in two databases. One basis is Beowulf test, so the standard regular test, and everybody knows about it. And the second is the database of 1C, the bookkeeping, the accounting. What did I face here? The first phase was test, and the second phase was the algorithm that would just only add some goods from Excel. What do I see here? The Nvidia monitoring utility shows that we have a query from Postgres into the database that inserts certain informations. Of course, not every query goes through. I will need to work with this. Like the Vint query is not passing through, and I don't know why for now. But these are only the new plans for me, and I hope I will understand. Perhaps Postgres doesn't support some types of data, or some data is not passing through GPU because the CPU and GPU processor are different, slightly different. And in the end, I want to show you a test. This is a small Beowulf test that was executed directly during the operation of introduction of goods. Everything was made in one database, i3 processor, 16 GB of operative memory, and it has Postgres and 1C on it, and I have two services of 1C, one working operating service and one test service. And according to the results of the test, I cannot say that this is a very good outcome, because the machine was not the best one. But actually, that's all I wanted to share with you. Should you have any questions? You are free to ask them. Greetings. Thank you. Thank you for your information. You told us that there are some problems with licensing, but what are the problems? Now, let me explain. There are two nuances, and I don't have an answer for now. The first, when we installed 1C, we have a file catalog, and the files are not patched and not changed. We only changed the name of the file for the file to be in the same directory, and we created a simple script with parameters of startup. This is the change, but should this change be licensed or not? And the second change, we are starting everything on one machine, on command server. And either a cycle or anyhow else, we need to point out that this service, the license service, will run on cluster 1 or 2, and Beowulf cluster implies that all the possibilities of all servers are united as one, and the CPU and processes are split between the command server to have a contact with the clients, and the part of the process is then transferred to other node. That means it runs simultaneously on two computers, but we are operating only with one key. I would just suggest it to you. Perhaps it's silly. Service Manager allows to operate the licensing service on one server. Perhaps you could install one additional server out of your class, and then you could put a licensing server, and it will live there. No. It's just a standard way. Yes, but still, the 1C cluster allows use of this functionality. Yes, I don't know about this, but when we speak about the budgetary issues, when you need to buy additional machine or keys, you need to find out something non-standard. Yeah, for now I don't have any answer to this, because we run one process on command server. It is transferred to the first node, the second process started on the second node, and so on. So this is the main issue of licensing. May I ask you a question about MPI? If I understand correctly, instead of organizing one C cluster, you started independent processes, and they work with one and the same database. And 1C does not recommend independent processes to work with one database, because transactions and logic are on the side of once in the same server. And here I don't see any problem, because genuinely you install one server, 1C cluster, because cluster, what do I think of cluster? This is one server, 1C on one machine, second server, 1C on the second machine, then we have a console of administration, and we just add a working server, operating servers, number 1, number 2, and so on, and they can work like one database is connected. We connect to one database, 10 users, and then you can see 5 users work with one working server and 5 users work on the other one. And here we have a different case. We have one C server, but the services are distributed into nodes. This means, for example, we start that 1C starts a service, 1C service. In a script, we have host number 1, and one half of the procedure, of the same procedure, stays on the command server that is needed for the user to communicate. And the other part, the second part, which is the context, is then sent to the node and is executed there. And for this to work, we need only a normal network, regular network. Additionally, perhaps we need to work with the NFS file system. This means that we will need to make a common file system that would be identically, and users catalog should be included into the first, second, and third node, but Beowulf allows startup on different machines with different configurations. But one prerequisite for this is because everything works on Linux and the structures of catalogs in Windows and Linux are different, it's better to use the similar type system. I have one more question about Beowulf. It's out of the micro. Me, as a representative of GitHub team, I can say that you are using our test as a productivity. What is the configuration for your slide when the test is executed separately and there is a load in this machine? Yes, I had a test here for void base, and it was started parallel, additional to the bookkeeping and nomenclature. Did you check the productivity of the machine without load? Unfortunately, no. Why I could not make it? But it takes only 10 minutes. And third question, what about the configuration of Beowulf test? Can it be extended by the extension codes that you could imply? I was just searching for a testing tool before I left to this meeting, and there was nothing free, and I just decided to use your test. I have a small question regarding the file system. I think the file system stays on the command server. No, the file system was also distributed between two servers.
So I exported the root file system based on NFS. I raised the server for no disk downloading. All 1C servers includes 3 machines and 1 hard drive. So I have the second node and the first node that work without disks. One more question. I have never seen such a cluster, Beowulf cluster. So you want to add more power, connect one more machine. Do you add the power of core thread or the number of machines? The number of processes is added. So you installed a processor and its cores will be added. In that case, I have a question regarding Beowulf. When you devised all this, did you have any idea of performance increase? Well, performance increase, of course, was related to budget for companies, so it should be as cheap as possible. Well, you said that a good network was needed. What network can be considered a good one? 10 gigabytes. Another question. Well, 10 gigabits, okay, we will have less than 1 millisecond delay. Am I right that it sent one thread of a program to another node? Yes. So how can we see the tests? Will you publish them? Well, I plan to do that. But I work in a small organization and I do not even talk to people in social networks. Well, anyway, I will publish all of this on InfoStart. What is Hydra PMI proxy? Where is it? Well, I started starting console. It has Hydra PMI proxy that does something with the network. This is a proxy that is based on SASH and is used to calculate NPI. So initially all of this was done for large computations. There is a notion of supercomputer. Mostly it was used for this. Oh, that's great. Well, it's our creative experience. Maybe someone will be interested in it. As I understand, we have cut corners on the license and we can install a farm. Well, instead of the farm, instead of database servers, a farm can be used. That's also quite interesting because miners can be bought quite cheaply. Thanks a lot. Actually, we will have time for questions a bit later. This is about Linux scripts. So it's about understanding the scripts for 1C launch. As the notion of scripts and file scripts. Actually, it's not difficult. Okay, let's continue.